Oh, hey, what's up? Welcome to Sandy Garbo with me, Hazel Zero. It's hot, and so the fans are on. Deal with it. I'm trying to deal with this heat. Today, we're going to listen to an excerpt of the podcast Love, Love Not, Season 2, Episode 3, in which I respond and consume feedback about the adventures of Almost. Thanks for being here. Oh, and the video is the speed art drawing of making the animations for the 4 categories of judgment. Maybe that's what I should call them. The 4 categories of judgment. It sounded more epic in my head. Anyway, here we go. Thanks. I'm here to do me, and if you want that, cool. I'm glad you're here. And if you don't, cool. Go away. It's that easy. It really doesn't matter. And that goes for relationships, that goes for interactions, that goes for the podcast and the YouTube and all that jazz. If you're here for Basil, here's Basil. Cool. Hey, how's it going? I'm glad you're here. I really appreciate you. So, in light of that, I got some feedback based on one of my latest adventures into Almost. I did a review of Stardew Valley, and one of my friends' reaction was, how the fuck can you review Stardew Valley when you only played it for 30 minutes? And another friend said, I've put over 200 hours into that fucking game. To which I respond, okay, that's cool. It works for you. It doesn't work for me. That's awesome. I'm glad you find something that you enjoy. Doesn't matter. Also, I think that my criticisms are valid, even having only played the game for 30 minutes. Which got me thinking, what kind of a structure can I apply to these adventures of Almost to ensure that I'm communicating that my review is not just, my review and my reactions to all of the media I'm consuming are not just visceral reactions, even though some of them are, but I can frame them in a way that is palatable for someone, even if they're disappointed that I didn't play for that long, or I didn't even finish the movie, or I didn't finish the series. Because I think that's still valid, because I'm human, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people do not finish the game. They form their opinion, and that informs whether they can come to a conclusion or not. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean, because I guarantee that you are also human and you have also done this in many different instances, because there's a lot of media out there to consume. And if it's just not doing it for you, if it's not ringing it true, it's really not worth finishing. Usually. There are rare instances, and I'm sure we will come across that. But the exception that proves the rule is I would like to present to you the criteria that I hope to be structuring my adventures into Almost around. And now this should apply to any media consumption: video games, podcasts, movies, shows, musics, YouTube commentary things, I don't know, personal interactions. I want to make it vague enough that I can still review things in a way as to call them a garbage donut, or stale cupcake with beautiful but gross buttercream frosting. I think that those are both very tangible, concrete reviews for consumptions of media. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I describe things like that, and that's exactly what I'm going for. So here we go. 4 criteria. There are 4 categories that I'm going to try judging things in. Let's start with category 1. Love at first sight. What are my first reactions as far as what it looks like? Immediate impressions. What does it feel like? What's the introduction? What's the tutorial? What's the first 30 seconds? You understand what I'm saying. Category 2. How do you sell it? That's marketing, that's promotional material, that's your own personal descriptions of your product, of your media. That's also, what are you doing with the visuals? What's the symphony of icing on the cake? What does it look like? What does it sound like? How does everything go together? What are the little details? How do you sell it? it also gives me an opportunity to speak from an experience of being a trained graphic designer. 3, what is at the heart? And that is both, as far as the game goes, like the mechanics of it. What is the core narrative? What is the story about? What is it, the root of the melody? What is this episode of the podcast about? So that's ignoring, that one category is ignoring all the fluff. So if all the fluff is garbage, but the heart is really good, that gives me an opportunity to speak through that lens. And category number 4, let me lose myself. Can I get lost in it? Like, I really like the game Alchemy Academy. It's a cute little alchemy game, but I can't really get lost in it because I can only play for like 5 turns and then you shut it down while everything reloads, and then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to do something else, which functions as a mechanic, but I cannot get lost in the world where I turn around and look at, I mean, honestly, turn around and look at the show Winona, which really, at its heart, was kind of boring as fuck, but I could get lost in it. Like, I could watch a whole fucking season in one sitting and just let it consume me. So I think that that's an interesting category. Sometimes hours just slip by, and that's why something like Monument Valley, I was able to beat it all the way to the end. But Dead Cells, which really didn't have a narrative, didn't have a world, it didn't feel concrete, didn't really hold me. But the mechanics were fun, the visuals were fun, it was sold as a complete package, which gives me an opportunity to judge things in very visceral and raw, but fair and evenly balanced ways. Anyway. Cool. So that was me breaking down this scoring system that I've figured out to make my ideas make more sense to other people. Specifically for the Adventures of Almost, my exploration into the consumption of media. Thanks for joining me on Sandy Garbo. If you want to hear more of that podcast, oh crap, I ran out of time. Anyway, if you want to hear that podcast, that excerpt was from Season 2, Episode 3 of Love, Love, Not, available on Spotify. This has been Sandy Garbo. I have been and remain Basil Zero. Thank you for joining me. Stay cool. Bye. Okay, thanks. Bye.